it's Earl the Black Pearl coming to you again from the studios of Gospel Mood Entertainment here in Brampton. And at the controls is the lovely Minister Kim Kelly. I hope everyone is good today and ready for another entertaining and informative session with my show, Immunity for Life. Hope everyone is well this evening. And we're going to be talking about a couple of important things. So sit back, and if you want to take notes, go right ahead. This afternoon, it's okay in Brampton, not too cold, and almost the end of winter, coming on to spring. So we're getting ready to start shedding the coats and the tools and the gloves and the boots and start enjoying nicer weather. With all that said, we are still here. Praise the Lord. We're still walking around, still above ground. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the giant pharmaceutical companies and the part they play in disease and health. It's shocking that what's happening today in our world, and it's not just in Canada, it's the whole entire world. It's a conglomerate of greedy people, unconscionable people that do not think of each other but of themselves. What benefits them, that's what they're interested in. I've been watching and reading and looking and listening at various well-known, very experienced, very well thought of individuals who happen to be scientists, doctors themselves who are general practitioners, professors of medical universities, teaching universities. So these people are very experienced, very knowledgeable. And if you cannot believe them, then who can you believe? Well, they've been coming out with a lot of things about the multinational pharmaceutical industry and those who run it. And it's not good. As a matter of fact, some of it is really criminal. I've been listening and watching, as I said, to various articles on YouTube and even conferences that they are attending and have recorded. Now these people know what they're talking about. They've been in the trenches, they've been in the boardrooms, they've been in the labs. I'm not a doctor. I have no medical training, but there's such a thing as the internet. And most everything you want to know, you can find on the internet, whether it's Bing or Google or whatever. You can find it. You just have to type it in and it pops up. So I've been doing a little of that, and I've been coming up with reports. For instance, there's such a thing as a contrail. Now, I have nothing to aerospace, but the people will tell you that when you see a jet on a nice clear day flying across the sky, and you see that trail behind the jet, and you think it's the jet fuel or the exhaust from the jet. Well, they say it's more than that. It's actually substances that are being discharged in the air. Hence you get a contrail. And we're told that within this jet stream that we're looking at, it's you can see it with the naked eye. See, in the summer when the Air Force, the Canadian Air Force, do their flyby down at CNE, you usually see, we used to call it stuff written in the sky. Smoke coming out there. Well, it's similar to the contrail. But in that instance, what is happening is that they're discharging particles in the air. And those particles, we're told, contains new chemicals that they have been developing in their labs. And these are the precursors to the various diseases that we know now that we didn't know when we were growing up as kids. Never had any of that. But they're man-made. That's what we're told. Some people say it's a conspiracy theory. Maybe, maybe not. But where I'm hearing it from is not from the average man in the street. These are people who are on the inside. They know what's going on. They're whistleblowers. That's what they are. Okay? So, we need to listen. As my mom used to say, take everything with a grain of salt. Right? Because if it's not really so, it's close to it. And another thing they say, where there is smoke, there's fire. So that simply means that don't discard everything you hear as conspiracy theory. There's usually some truth behind it. And as I say, truth is stranger than fiction sometimes. So pay attention. So back to the contrail. What this does, it discharges these particles, which are usually man-made chemicals, into the air. But by this time, the same conglomerates, the same pharmaceutical giants, they've already made an antidote for these new man-made diseases. So what they do is they'll stockpile these antidotes, they'll discharge these new diseases in the air, and they sit back and wait. Because sooner or later, it's going to come down to earth, and we, people in the area, we will get sick. We will get the disease. And as soon as it becomes noticeable, the Ministry of Health, or Health Canada, or the USDA, or those who are supposed to be in charge of policing our health and preventing all this stuff. Now they said, uh-oh, we got a new disease, whether it's an influenza strain or whatever. And so they said, well, we have to find an antidote for it. And lo and behold, the company said, oh, we have an antidote for that. And so now, the government has to buy those stockpile antidotes and begin giving us, the rabbits, inoculation to get rid of what was made to harm us in the first place. Biological, diabolical. That's what it is. It's all about the money. Because if they can keep a vast percentage of the population sick, then they have a man-made, and they have a lifetime to collect. supposed to be healthy. We wouldn't need medicine. We wouldn't need pharmaceuticals. Why? Because naturally, we were born healthy. 95% of babies are healthy. 5% may be born unhealthy for whatever reason. But that's a very small, very, very small percentage. 95% to 5%, it's almost minimum. But if that was the case, then we would need all these pharmaceutical intervention. We wouldn't need so many doctors. We wouldn't need so many hospitals. We wouldn't need the Cancer Society and the Alzheimer's Society and all the other societies that are formed primarily to suck the blood from us. They're trying to tell us that they're here to do research that will get us better and get rid of these diseases. Do you believe that? Well, I got a bridge to sell you. There's nothing further than the truth. We are talking trillions of dollars. Not billions, not millions, trillions of dollars worldwide. And the sad part of it is, when all these drugs are made and dispensed and used by us, the unwitting public, the companies that makes these drugs and dispenses them, they are more than aware of the harm that it does in the future. They're aware of that. Worse than that, not only are they aware of it, but they've made contingency plans. See, the vast amount of money to be made far outweighs anything adverse, criminal that happens to the public. Because if you're making trillions of dollars, and they do, what's a couple billion paid out in claims? We still have a lot of money left. Not only that, but the money paid out in claims is not to me and you who are suffering. It's to the lawyers who are litigating the claims. They make the money. Not me and you who suffer. We may make cents on the dollars. Because they've done away with pennies now. So we don't get pennies anymore. Right? Cents on the dollars. Mm-hmm. So it's in their best interest to put whatever they want on the market and damn us. If we want to squawk and quarrel and fight them, go ahead. Because while we're doing that and dying, they're raking in the money hand over fist. So they're winning. Any way you look at it, they're winning. I was listening to this doctor just last night on YouTube, and he was making a presentation. And this doctor was first a family practitioner. He did family medicine. And then he left that and he went back to college and he studied and he upgraded himself and eventually became professor of one of the teaching universities in the world, Harvard. And he himself fell ill. And he said he was a nut. He was a freak for health. Everything he did. He ate the best food. He had the best supplements. And he really took care of himself. But at age 40, this is his story. At age 40, he began to feel as if he was losing everything. He was always tired, and he couldn't understand why. And being a man of means, he had the best advice from the best specialists he could find. And after many, many thousands of dollars in tests and consultations, they finally could come up with something that he was aging, he was getting old. That's what your problem is. You're getting old. Things are wearing out. To me and you, that sounds logical. Everything wears out sooner or later. But what was not natural was that if you're taking care of yourself the way you should, yes, you're getting older, but nothing should happen that quick, that sudden. So if you have your automobile and you're following all the manufacturers' guidelines and rules about maintenance of that vehicle, when to change your oil, when to change the brakes, everything, to keep it running in tip-top shape. That car could be 10 years old and it's still running brand new because it's being kept up properly. What's got to be changed, it's got to be changed. The only thing you know that car is a 1982 car because that's the year it was made. But everything in that car is not 1982 because they've been changing what needs to be changed. So maintenance has been kept up. It should be running spanking brand new. Get a new paint job and you can't tell the difference. Maybe just by the shape of it. Oh, that is an 82. I know that shape of that car. So this doctor was kind of puzzled. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Eating right, exercising, getting my sleep, not stressing, but still, I don't feel good. I don't feel healthy. And so he took it on himself to start looking into other things, other possibilities. And during his research, he came to the conclusion, not just him, but from all the other tests and papers and scientific research, everything that was being done all over the world. And thanks to the internet, those things are at your fingertips. You can find them anywhere if you know where to look. So he looked, and he came up with this. He says, during his research, he found out that there were like 12,500 different diseases in the world. 12,500 diseases. Every disease had a name in the world. 12,500. And he said, how can anybody treat anybody for that amount of different diseases? How can they do it? It's impossible. And he found out that if you have or were diagnosed with, say, for instance, high blood pressure, which is very common today, along with diabetes and high cholesterol. Those are the three main diseases floating around the world. And he said, and he's written books about this, Never Be Sick Again is one of them. And he said, he found out, and he's sure that scientists before him found that out too, that there are only two kinds of diseases. actually, he said there's only one kind of disease, but there are two causes for that one kind of disease. He broke it down. He said the only disease is when the body stops functioning the way it's supposed to be, no matter where in the body. In the head, in the belly, in the foot, in the eyes, in the heart, doesn't matter. And he said the reason for that is because our body is really comprised of 95 trillion cells in the human body. 95 trillion. But he made a very good point. He said, all of us, barring none, started with one cell. One cell. All of us started with one cell. Right? In the mother's womb. And from that one cell, everything was made. It's really like the DNA and all the other stuff. That is why we can say with certainty that no two people are alike totally. Not even twins, not even triplets, because that one cell cannot be in two people at the same time. That one cell must be in the mother's womb. So if you have twins, it's still one cell each, and they can't be the same. So he said, and it makes sense to me, if we all start from one cell, and then today we're standing on planet Earth, and we're like in excess of 95 trillion cells. If that one cell malfunctioned, then you'd have a sick cell. So you'd have disease in that one cell. But as we grow and we amass more cells, then those cells are now a community of cells that makes up our bodies. And if we can keep one cell healthy, we keep all our cells healthy. But if we get one cell that is unhealthy, we're sick. And we only get sicker when more and more cells become unhealthy. We get sicker. So, that's a cause for disease. But why would any cell become unhealthy? Why would any cell become diseased? And this good doctor said there are two reasons. And the first one is deficiency. The cells become deficient in something. And when it becomes deficient, if it's not supplied with whatever the deficiency is, then it becomes damaged, it becomes injured, and it dies. He continued to say that the human body, as he sees it, as he's learned, the human body at any given time is only 6 months old. 6 months. If you're 20 years old, your body is really 6 months old. 30, 6 months old. 50, 6 months old. Why? Because there is a total turnaround of cells in the human body. See, every minute billion cells die, but another 10 billion cells are born. So there's a trade-off. But if cells die that rapidly and are reborn that rapidly, it follows that in 6 months you're going to lose all your old cells and you get new cells. Brings us back to the point, if we can keep the cells healthy, not diseased, then every time there's a regeneration, we should be healthier. We should be healthier, not sicker. So if we can keep ourselves healthy, then we are already healthy people. And if we're healthy people, we don't need intervention from medicines and pharmaceuticals. We don't need it because we're functioning the way we're supposed to function. Body is good to go. But what happens is that the way we live and the intervention of man has made all this obsolete. We no longer look forward to having a healthy, pain-free, disease-free lifestyle because of what we've been doing to ourselves and to others. That's the reason. God has done His work, and we are undoing it every day, willfully undoing it every day. Because no matter what kind of pharmaceutical medication you are prescribed, the doctor says our bodies, our immune system is highly intelligent. Anything it detects as foreign, it rejects it. The immune system goes right to work to store it in the liver and throw it out of the body. So the liver is the natural dumpster. You get a prescription of any kind, and because it's man-made, it's not a natural thing that the body recognizes, and because the body is so intelligent, it automatically takes it and puts it in the liver to be thrown out the body, to be discarded because it's the enemy. Doesn't know that. Doesn't know that. So you find that a lot of the prescriptions that we get for whatever reason, whether it be for diabetes or high cholesterol or high blood pressure, you name it, right? The body immediately recognizes that as the enemy, foreign substance, don't know it, can't stay here, gotta go. And the immune system, that's the policeman, and he's also the executioner, because he will kill those foreign objects, send them to the liver to be excreted. But what happens when your immune system itself is compromised and it cannot do the cleanup work it's supposed to do? So those foreign bodies can't get killed and thrown out. So they lie around and they become toxic. And here comes the cancer guy, because that's what he is formed from. All those dead and dying cells that cannot be ejected from the body, they clump up, they become cancerous. And that's another story. So that is why you go to your doctor and he says, you have elevated blood pressure, you have hypertension. So he gives you prescription tablets to bring your blood pressure down. But body says, hey, there's nothing wrong with my blood pressure. It's all that stuff you're putting in there that I have to get rid of. And the doctor has no mercy. He keeps you on this prescription for years. And all the while, your liver is getting worse, your kidney is getting worse. And you're looking at it and you say, oh, my pressure is down, I'm okay. Yes, it's supposed to be where it's at. But listen, there's something else going on somewhere else in the body. It has nothing to do with the pressure. Pressure looks fine. But your kidney is going to hell. Your liver is going to hell. And other things are going to hell. But they're focusing on the blood pressure. Make sense? I don't think so. Point is that the medications we take are making things worse, not better. Because it's going against nature, and nature has a way of fighting back. They're putting stuff in your body to bring your blood pressure down, your blood sugar down, your cholesterol down. But it has nothing to do with that. What it has to do is with the other stuff you're putting in your body, what you're eating, what you're drinking, the air you're breathing. Those are the real criminal things that's happening in your body. So, when they give you all these blood thinners to thin the blood doesn't need thinning. It's all that fatty stuff you're eating that's clogging up your arteries and ruining the walls of the digestive tract. And the body is just reacting to that. It's just reacting. It's natural. If you cut out the sugar, lower the salt, get rid of the fats, eat your fruits and vegetables, get rid of the red meat, because the body needs fatty acids. It needs fruits and vegetables, which gives you your protein. And these are what we use to make our blood, build new cells every day, every minute, every hour. This is what we need. We don't need medication. We need the right food to eat the right food every day. The doctors, all old, ancient doctors, they said let food be your medicine. Let medicine be your food. Works both ways. We eat right, we live right. Garbage in, garbage out. Simple. So let's not be fooled that these scientists are making all these wonderful discoveries every day. New medicine, new therapy. It's nothing new. Nothing new. It's all in us from day one. We just have to be smarter to help our bodies to keep us healthy naturally. Eating the right stuff and not eating the wrong stuff. It's got to do with diet and exercise. It's got to also to do with supplements. Because we know that not all the vitamins and minerals we need on a daily basis are not produced inside our bodies. Vitamin C is one of those. You have to take vitamin C externally, because we don't produce vitamin C in our bodies. Too bad. But the good God has given us enough fruits and vegetables outside of our bodies that we have more than enough vitamin C to put in our bodies every day. Simple one, lemon. Yep, lemon. You have one lemon in a glass of water every day, and you have more vitamin C than you need. And it's natural. You can't overdose on lemon. Hello? You may not like the taste of it, but you can't overdose on it. These are the things that we need to know and do every day to keep ourselves healthy and happy. Because when we're physically ill, we're also mentally ill. And when we're mentally ill, we cannot enjoy life. People can't stand to be around us, and we can't stand to be around sick people. So there's a disconnect right there. People get so sick, they want to die. Literally, they want to kill themselves. They're in so much pain, so depressed. People don't want to be around them. They say, what's the use? That is why health is so vital. Not important, vital, critical. That we maintain good health. And we do it as naturally as we can. These are the things I learned yesterday from listening to this one doctor. But he's not a lone voice in the wilderness. There's a growing number of intelligent, experienced, and people who are dedicated to teaching us the right way. Not to just survive, but to thrive on this earth, this planet we call Earth. Thrive. It's all there for us to use. And he was very clear that along with eating the right food and dieting and exercise, it's most important to supplement our bodies. Give them the ingredients that we don't make naturally inside our bodies. So we have to eat it or drink it. I'll be back in a few minutes, but before I go, I just want you to remember, in case you forgot, that you're listening to Earl or the Black Pearl on his show, Immunity for Life. And we're coming over the airwaves of Gospel Mood Entertainment here in lovely Brampton. And I'll be right back. Don't go too far.